We are back here with episode, 4 now, guys, of the Golden Valley Views.
Yeah.
And it is definitely going to be a interesting episode as we talk about the fact that an Oklahoma loss that I thought was going to be a lot more heartbreaking, but then I remember Dylan Gabriel going into this game, even though he had missed 2 games due to concussions, was 11-0 touchdown ratio. So Dylan Gabriel, actual NFL quarterback, and kind of forgot about that, going into this game. And last week, I was really hoping he was going to be out for another game for concussion. And I think we did a good job. This is my first take of, we continue to show we're a second half team. It's just it's a problem we've had all season. We start too late. Whenever we get momentum going, it's always too late in the game. Let me hear one of your guys' thoughts on this game. Oklahoma versus Kansas, which just dropped my microphone. That probably sounded awful. But the score was, 42-52. So thoughts?
To me, it looked like it was pretty much a pros versus Joes game. We are reminded that Oklahoma had 5-star recruits, 4 stars, and we're still just not there yet. We're Kansas, and it's disappointing considering how hot we started. We got hopes up. Our coaching staff is great keeping us in these games, but it's just a reminder of who we are, who they are.
I mean, yeah, you said it best. They clearly have more talent, but one thing that I knew they'd play well because they got destroyed by their most hated rival last week. But the only thing that I can really take away from it is Oklahoma was 16 of 21 on third down. They faced 21 third downs in the game, and they converted 16 of them. Regardless of talent, that is the biggest issue with the defense right now, is that they just can't get off the field. And that showed in the game.
Yeah, no. So first off, T's and P's out to Jacoby, a.k.a. Kobe Bryant. That was a bad injury. If one of you guys know more details into it, let's talk about it in a second. But it's been the whole thing. Yes, Lonnie Phillips, one of the best pass rushers in, pro football. But the rest of the team lacks pass rushing, as a whole to get consistent pressure to the quarterback, which – for a secondary, which arguably might be our weakest position on defense, even though it is our most opportunistic because it was a position that helped us win games earlier in the year, the last few weeks, once we've been facing quality quarterbacks in college football and offenses that have playmakers, our secondary has been burnt several times as we arguably lack playmakers there. That's where I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below, and even from you guys. What do you think is something that we can kind of move into, while we're talking about this loss, what we need to do and improve in the future going against Baylor, not even just Baylor, but for the rest of the season? What do you agree that the secondary is we just give up too many big freaking plays? And that's where I want to hear from you, Luke or Owens. What do you think is the true detriment of our defense?
So our pass rush, it needs to get there. I think it was the Oklahoma tempo that really was giving us issues, not letting us sub, because that's one of the big parts of our defense is getting that the D-line to sub every 2 or 3 plays, keep them fresh. Lonnie Phelps was battling an injury. Craig Young got in there a few times, made some plays defensively, but yeah, the secondary, I feel like that's the reason they play back so much, is not to give up the big play. And we definitely got baited into a lot of double moves and just the pump fakes. They knew we were biting on it and just burnt us on that the entire game. So I don't know exactly what to do from a scheme standpoint, but yeah, pressure from the D-line needs to get there if we're going to make them if we're going to force teams into making errors.
Yeah, like you said, it comes down to pressure, If but you let the play go on for too long because you can't get pressure. That's what leads to big third down conversions where, somebody like Dylan Gabriel extends plays because the play breaks down and, we couldn't get to him. That's something that needs to change against quality opposition. And, of course, our pass rush looked good against bad teams, but Oklahoma was Oklahoma. And like you said, like our secondary, they do like to jump routes. And sometimes when you try to jump routes, it can lead to getting greedy and getting torched, which that happened a number of times in the game. Again, I don't really know what to do from like a specific scheme standpoint, like as far as besides just like little things that need to get cleaned up because I'm not a coach, but we just got to get teams off the field on third down. That's something that can change.
Yeah, I'm typically down for the corners trying to jump routes, but when you're going up against a guy who'll be playing at the next level, he's going to make us pay. Like he knows what he's doing. He's experienced. Like, yeah.
I think, definitely, like, especially with Dylan Gabriel, and we're not saying you're Dylan Gabriel, like, he's going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback or something. I mean, he could even just be a backup in the NFL. It just comes down to, like, it's not even just Dylan Gabriel, but even the wide receivers on Oklahoma. Basically, most of those players on the team are going to be either starters or backups in the NFL. And I'm not saying you have to play conservative, but you have to be conservative while also maintaining the aggressiveness. And I just think in the first half, we were shooting ourselves in the foot, making dumb plays, not only with penalties, but I think the bigger thing is not even with our defense, it's with our offense. It's something it's been a problem in the last 3 games. It goes back to, I believe, even the Duke game. We start too late. Our offense doesn't start to actually get the ball moving till the end of the first half. Every game, it feels like our first good drive is in the last 5 minutes of the first half. And I think I don't know. I don't know why it feels like it always in the first quarter, we're always still experimenting on plays because it always seems like we start the game with a different set of, plays than the last play, our opening drives. I don't know if that's something you guys agree with. Let me hear your thoughts.
I mean, we started off with 2 touchdowns against OU, but they were able to adjust and shut us down for a period. And then that was that real dead time for us. And we just cannot afford to have these dead times in games against teams that are going to have the more talented roster. Like, we do just fine against teams that we're about on par with, or teams that we're better than. We can afford to have those dead times, but against OU, Texas, Oklahoma State, that can't happen.
You think that's because of our I want to say there was times where, yes, Jason Beam was a bit gun shy and stuff like that, but do you think that's due to our lack of playmakers, you could say? Because I think we have playmakers, but sometimes our playmakers have a tendency, like you said, after we score those 2 touchdowns, to go away, to stop making play. Like they're not always, compared to other top college football programs where it seems like their guys are on every play. It seems like our guys take plays off. Maybe I don't want to say that, okay, but you get what I mean? Like we're not. Do you think that's the problem in our offense? Why we stagnate?
I don't really think it's specifically that. Like, you can't expect your offense to score every single drive. And our offense is a very good offense. But like Owens was saying, when our defense just isn't quite at the level, you can't afford to have dead times against teams that are better than you. Like, I'm looking at the stats right now. In terms of just number of plays, like our defense has been – we average like 76 plays a game on defense and only like 60 on offense. Because if our defense just can't stop anybody, they just keep giving up long drives, whenever you don't score, you're just putting the defense back out there to be part of another long drive. And that's why Oklahoma just kept scoring early in the game.
Yeah, getting the defense off the field is going to be important. And when we're on offense, we can't have 3 and outs. It's got to be get a first down or two, even if we're not scoring, get the defense a little bit of rest. But yeah, like back to having playmakers, Fairchild looked like a beast out there. I mean, we keep going back and forth on Lawrence Arnold and Luke Grimm. Like one of them will have a good game, the other one kind of disappears. But Fairchild, my God, he went off this week. And he's usually pretty consistent in doing that. Like, I just love our tight end group. Like, I think that's my favorite, like, position on our team. I love Jalen Daniels. Jason Bean's a pretty competent backup. But, man, our tight ends are fun.
Yeah, I don't know, and I've said this before. I was hoping that we would just Andy Kotelnicki would be watching Greg Roman and the Baltimore Ravens tape of the last 3-4 years and seeing how they utilize all their tight ends. Because not only do we have Mason Fairchilds, we have Trevor Cardell and Jared Casey also there, and we should be running 3 tight end sets, okay, and then just have Quinn Skinner and Lawrence Arnold or Quinn Skinner and Luke Grimm out there, and just be telling Jason Bean or Jalen Daniels when he comes back, hey, let's just if the ball, the intermediate throw to the wide receivers and open, let's just take the 5-yard throws to the tight ends, 2-3-yard throws to the tight ends. We'll have 2-3 of those guys out there just doing post curls or flats, and just throw to them. We'll take those 2-3 yards. Devin Neal can get 4 yards of carry easily. We'll get those 4 or 5 yard catches where they'll get a few yards, and just work the field with our tight ends. Because the other thing people don't realize is Trevor Cardell's 6'4", Jared Casey's 6'3", and then you got Mason Fairchild's, what's he, 6'6", 6'7", or something like that. I just think we need to utilize those. And I think this is a good segue into the next conversation I wanted to have with you guys, and that is looking into the next game, which is against Baylor. And that's where I want to hear, are you guys thinking that this is a game where we could see not a radically different offense, but maybe a bit more of a difference than what we've seen? What are your thoughts looking into this game right now? What needs to be done against Baylor to beat them?
Well, Baylor is significantly less talented than Oklahoma. Obviously, they just lost to West Virginia last week. Baylor, we just need to play like we did at the beginning of the season, And for the most part, I believe our team, when we play like Owens was saying earlier, teams on par of our talent level, will do fine. The offense was not the problem in last week's game. Our defense just needs to get Baylor off the field on third down. And we get
700 yards.
700 yards and 16 of 21 on third down. The third down conversion rate needs to improve. If we can just get them off the field, even if we're just not scoring every drive, as long as our defense just isn't out there 5 minutes at a time, it'll be an improvement for sure. And we should be able to come away with the win.
For me, I'm looking into Baylor. I don't know a ton about them, so I haven't heard much about their offense or defense. I know they're supposed to be really good at the start of the season, but they lost to West Virginia, which makes me think that we can hang with them going there. It's not a death sentence. I think Lance will have us in games against everyone this year. I'm not going in thinking we're getting blown out, which is always a good sign. But I just have no idea where this is going to go. Are we going to run more of a Jason Bean style offense now that we've had time to kind of put those into the playbook? Are we still riding with more of that Jalen Daniels offense?
So for all the stats nerds right now, the interesting stat right here, if we wanted to look real quickly, if we want to go up and put a comparison of the two teams, and not that these are stats to ride or die, because they don't. Right now, we have a 20.4% chance of winning this game according to ESPN's analytics department, but that's not at all what I wanted to zoom in on. But right here we go. This is what I wanted to look at. these are the stats currently when we match up the teams. If you're watching this, but if you're listening, points per game. The Jayhawks are currently scoring about 40.1. Baylor scoring about 37.8. So right now we're outscoring them. However, we do give up 30 points a game, and they give up 24 points a game. So right there, and if you look at the defensive, stats, they allow only 350 yards a game. We allow 439.4, while also they are a team that has a better passing game, as their total yards are 461.8 and ours 438.6. So just by the numbers, they are arguably a more balanced team. And I think that at the end of the day, it's what we've talked about in this whole pod right now is we can't freaking give up 700 yards of offense again, because that's just preposterous. And I think the best thing for us to do to have success, regardless of who's starting at quarterback, I mean, they listed Jalen as doubtful, so we'll see if they'll suit him up with Toradol and whatever other drugs they need him to play. But I think we're fine with Jason Bean playing if needed. It's the defense. And what is your guys' thoughts? What does the defense have to do? What position group is key to our success this weekend?
I would probably say our secondary is the key to success. Baylor put up a lot of yards on West Virginia. I think it was in the 500s. Can't remember if it was low or high 500s, but our secondary is going to have to make a play or two, force turnovers. I'm starting to think that turnovers are probably going to be the way we get another win. Is we take care of the ball on offense and just make something happen on defense. Kind of thinking back to the 2018 KU team, that they were in games because they led the nation in turnover differential. It wasn't a pretty team to watch, but they stayed in games because of that.
Luke?
Yeah, we how many wins did we have that season? We had like 3 wins. That team was ugly, but they kept a lot of games close because they did what this defense did at the beginning of the season. I agree with we need turnovers to be a big part of the game, but the thing is, this defense cannot afford to be reliant on turnovers. They have to start forcing 3-and-outs, because even if you have a long drive and you force them to punt, if they get 30 yards and they punt, they pin you back, now you're in bad field position and it fucks over the offense. So we've allowed more yards this year than we've gained per game. That speaks for itself. That has to improve. We've got to force Baylor to get short, quick drives to have a chance.
Defensively, I'd like to see Craig Young rush the quarterback more. I know we kind of use him as a safety, secondary linebacker kind of thing. He does a little bit of all that.
He's the all-around glue guy for the defense.
Yeah, he's the all-around guy. But I'd love to see him just pressure quarterback a few times, get in on a few more blitzes, just see what he can do.
He's
He's
literally our second leading sack guy. Yeah. And I mean, it's sad to say that because it goes 6 sacks with Phillips, then it just drops the 3 and then 2. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I think Craig Young, if we can get Craig Young and the rest of the boys, which would be, I think, Craig Young, and if we can also get who we've seen some Catskill in the beginning of the year. Catskill was a guy who was terrorizing in the first few weeks of the season. He was a guy that I felt like I saw his name all over the field every time, either assisting on tackles or just, getting pressures. But I think the big thing is that we're going to be looking at is, Romello Dotson. He's, he had a strong start to the year, but he's kind of faded. I think he's someone that's going to have to step up with the Kobe Bryant injury. Kenny Logan, he's just got to continue doing his thing, but he's, probably our best playmaker in the secondary. He's got to really be looking to take advantage for any mistakes that he can. And with that, as well as I'm hoping that we see, OJ Burroughs and Kalon Gervin, make an impact now that Kobe Bryant's going to be out. And because those two and Marvin Grant are probably going to be the 3 guys that will also be helping out Dotson and Logan a lot more than previous. So I think it's definitely going to be something to see. And I just think we need. I feel like every time we blitz more than 4 guys, we have success. But the problem with doing that, we don't have a strong secondary to be able to consistently do that. So I just want to figure out a way if there's a creative way that we can set up some creative blitzes that doesn't leave our secondary completely exposed. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, guys?
I mean, a good start would be having Lorenzo McCaskill keep his helmet on. That would be cool if he's not losing it every other play. But yeah, like we need our linebackers to kind of step up and stop the run a little better because Kenny Logan had 14 tackles, I believe, last game against OU. And that is something that cannot happen from your safety. If your safety's making double-digit tackles, that's not good. I mean, going back to the past again, it reminds me of Fish Smithson, and he was a stud, but he had to make so many plays as a safety. You're just like, why is he making plays 15 yards back every play? So getting those linebackers to make stops closer to the line of scrimmage is really going to be the way we get off the field.
Fish Smithson, what a name. Yeah, you never want your safety to lead the team in tackles because it means they're just getting to the second level of the defense too many times. I think besides Craig Young, because Craig Young obviously is good, our linebackers need to step up. And Ciro, with what you were talking about earlier, I think it's a fine line with what we were talking about with blitzing Craig Young. It's a fine line with blitzing him because you don't want to leave the secondary exposed.
And that's why he's a glue guy.
Yep. And ultimately it comes down to, I think, a guy that I like because he's shown potential is OJ Burrows. He's going to need to lock it down and be more consistent over the second half of the season for however long we don't have Kobe.
For what were you going to say? Go, Owens.
So I had a question for you, Ciro. So I know a lot of the KU people weren't upset that Gavin Potter left the program, but do you think he would have made a big impact defensively this game or made some sort of impact? Because he was an experienced linebacker who just entered the transfer portal.
He left because of lack of playing time, is from what I saw. He went from being one of the main guys last year to just because of the influx of transfers, he lost his job, primarily Craig Young and Lonnie Phillips. I think the problem with Gavin Potter is he's not a coverage or a pass rushing guy. He's more of a run stopping and more of just a tackling machine type guy. And I don't know. I just don't know if I'm obviously not a scout. I think there's a reason why he wasn't playing is he doesn't have the sideline to sideline quickness to be in Big 12 football. And I don't mean that as a disrespectful thing. I just don't think he's quick enough for a team like KU. He was a depth guy. He's not going to be going to another Big 12 program because I don't think he's quick enough. He probably is a guy who's going to thrive at the mid-major as the Sam or Will linebacker.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking his quickness wasn't great, but I felt like he did a good job against the run, or at least he held his own against the run.
He's just an old school linebacker. Give me 1 second, guys. If you guys hold 1 second.
Yeah, you're good.
So, Luke, how about late night?
Oh, late night, man. Yeah, just late night was fun. Man, it would have been nice to be in the pit though if they actually had a better setup for the diesel.
Oh yeah, if we could have gotten down there with the students, that would have been a good time.
That would have been better, but I mean, it was the diesel, so.
Yeah, Shaq put on a good performance. The banners falling was amazing to see. I remember just watching the national championship game there, looking at the banners, any chance I got, being like, all right, how do we get 6 up there?
They found a way.
The 7 inches in between each one.
We saw it happen. Well, what happens if we go back to back? What the fuck are they going to do then with the banners?
I can put one up in my apartment. I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, same. I'd take one.
Yeah, I'll take one for the team.
We'll take the banner.
I'll take the 1922 one.
Oh, what an iconic piece to have that would be.
But yeah, so if we do end up getting that 6th win here, whenever it happens, are we going to the bowl game? I'd be down to road trip.
I wouldn't be against it.
I mean, definitely if it's in Texas where we got a few friends down there we could pick up on the way.
And it also depends on who we play. Imagine if we play I don't know, let me think of imagine if we play A&M. Let's say they suck at the end of the year and we play them in a bowl game. We'd have to go.
Yeah, we'd have to. I would like to not play an SEC school.
I
I'd
agree.
love for it to be
A more winnable game.
Yeah, I don't know, Arizona. I don't even know how good they are this year, but
They're
a
not
Pac-12 team would be cool.
Yeah.
A Stanford team that squeaked out 6.
I can't believe they won. They just sank my parlay. I can't believe they beat Notre Dame.
We got a better record than Notre Dame. I tweeted that out last night.
What if we play Notre Dame?
What if we played no? Oh man, I can't stand Notre Dame. So
I'd love to beat them in a ball game.
all right, so let's look at the schedule here since it's up on the screen for our YouTube viewers. Where are we seeing we get that next win?
If I had to pick, besides the most recent one, Baylor, I'd probably say Tech.
Yeah, I'm thinking Tech's winnable. That's at Tech. So for those not here, we got at Baylor, bye week, home against Oklahoma State, which I'm a little nervous for how the crowd would look if we don't pull it off against Baylor. And then, so after Oklahoma State, we go to Texas Tech, home against Texas, who's ranked right now and looking good with their starter. And then we go to Kansas State, which is also looking pretty solid at the moment. Man, I got to say Texas Tech is looking like the most winnable. Baylor's up there. But I still think we can make a dogfight against any team. Oklahoma State, I have a bad feeling about that. We've never played them well, or at least in recent history.
Yeah, and even with they lost to TCU, I still think they're probably the best team in the Big 12.
I mean, they controlled that first half and then just blew it.
I'd still say they're probably the best team in the Big 12. I'm not expecting us to win that game. So, it's Baylor and Tech. On a side note, look at those ticket prices. Look, that K-State game is absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, if that K-State game is under $50, like if we start slipping and K-State's not in the conference title talk, I want to go to that one.
Oh, yeah.
But if they're triple digits, no way.
Yeah, I'm not going
out to Manhattan for that.
For $100? Hell no. Yeah, that is unbelievable.
I mean, it'll be right after Thanksgiving too, so probably spending time with the family.
Yeah. I'd go to the game.
I'd drag family out to that game.
It's just $100.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. $11 for Lubbock. How far is Lubbock from Lawrence? It's got to be 10-ish hours. I don't think that's a road trip one.
No, not
feeling
right.
that.
Lubbock is wow. It's loading right now. Yeah, it's like 10 hours, dude.
God,
we drive 10 hours to go to Lubbock.
We're not going to Lubbock. If we're undefeated, yeah, like I'd consider going.
If we were undefeated, yeah, but we all knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I saw a thing of it's like if we were undefeated, we could definitely take over the city of Lubbock with KU fans. And I saw that. Welcome back, Zero. We're discussing road tripping to Texas Tech to go see us win our, I believe, so we'd be 6-2, 7-2, 8 to see us go 8-2 in Lubbock.
8-2 in Lubbock.
Yep, that's what's happening here.
What a great place to go visit.
One of my a teacher who wrote me a letter of rec. He you know what they say: if you didn't get your grades up, you got your guns up. And he did his undergraduate at good old Texas Tech. But
yeah, if you're not getting into UT Austin or Baylor, TCU, that's where you go.
Or SMU or Rice.
SMU. Yep.
Dude, Rice is like the Stanford of Texas.
Yeah. They call themselves the Harvard of the South.
Can we get Rice back on our football schedule now that we can compete with them?
Are they good or bad?
I don't think they're good at all, but there was just a point in time where we played them for a few years in a row, and then
we'd always win.
Yeah.
It was nice.
That was one of those few wins we could get.
You know who else we played? Northern Illinois. That's another one we played for a while in a row.
That's fun. All right. That's, I think, everything we'll talk about today, guys. You guys, I assume, when I was gone, did the outlook on what games we could win?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a rough outline of it. Went through all the games, but I want to hear from you. When are we getting win 6?
Honestly, Texas Tech or Baylor. Yeah. And then after that, probably K-State or Texas.
Everyone keeps marking Texas being like, like we're going to upset Texas again. I just don't see it as long as they're
there's two things that happen.
There.
Two things that happen. We upset Texas or they blow us out the water.
I think it's probably the second one because they are not going to let it happen again.
I'm just saying if we do upset Texas, they're firing Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, they are.
Their athletic director.
I mean, we beat them 2 of the last 5 times we've played them. So if we make that 3-3,
they would not be happy.
If you lose back-to-back games to Kansas at Texas, you are getting fired.
You are getting fired.
They disrespect us so badly. That's why Charlie Strong got fired. I can't believe they didn't fire Sarkisian last year after losing us. But
it's a new era, baby.
It's a new era.
A new era. Teams don't disrespect us.
I mean, hopefully by that Tech game we got Jalen back. Like if he's not done for the year, I could see him coming back after the bye week, maybe after Okie State.
It sounds like he's not done for the year. They've kind of
I mean, seeing all the clips of him on the sideline doing all the hand motions and stuff, signaling plays, he looked like he didn't look like he was in pain. So that's always a good sign.
That is always a good sign. Yeah. So I think it's just going to be Texas Tech is our best bet. Behind that, it's Baylor. And then I would go K-State, and then the last one is Texas.
Yeah, I just don't see us beating Oklahoma State.
I'm a
little scared for our fan turnout there. I could see it going somewhere between 35,000 and 40.
If we beat Baylor, though, it'll be a sellout.
Yeah, if we beat Baylor, it's a sellout. But if we don't beat Baylor, it'll dip down a little bit. People will still be excited and still be there, but I don't think it's going to be sellout worthy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was looking at this one thing, guys. This is the last thing I want to say. I was looking at the 2009 team, and I got a little scared about how many similarities there were. We both had a win against Duke at home. We both started 5-0, and our second loss of the season was to Oklahoma.
The 5th win was against Iowa State at homecoming.
Yeah. Wait, what about Duke?
Into 2009 similarities. We had the win against Iowa State at homecoming. We beat Duke in a home game, and we both started 5-0, and we both lost the second game. Like our second loss of the season was to Oklahoma.
So you say we're going to go 5-7?
I'm not saying that. I just was looking at it earlier, and I got a little worried about it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
Shut
a
the
little
fuck up.
worried, but
You're bad Vuju.
it's just the KU in us.
The
We've
similarity-
watched
the
this
similar-
our entire lives.
Yeah, you don't understand. You didn't watch that team crumble. You didn't watch them throw away that game against Colorado and then crumble.
Yep.
Oh,
I was
mean,
fortunate to have
the
missed
end
that.
of Mangino when he was getting phased out, and then Charlie Weiss, Turner Gill.
Charlie Weiss was the GOAT.
oh my
No,
God.
no.
What are you talking
Oh.
about? We are the best school for washed-up coaches to get their to rebuild
Oh,
their
you're right.
value.
We are. Oh,
Who was
Charlie.
after Turner Gill? Was
We're
that
right
David
behind
Gill?
Bama. We're
It was
Coach
Turner
Rehab.
Gill, Weiss, Beatty.
All right, Turner
Uh,
Gill was the worst hire, and I feel like they just hired him because we're libtards.
No, because he was a good player at Nebraska, and he managed to turn around Buffalo once. That's
Once.
why.
So we just went back to Buffalo. I remember.
Yeah, but except the difference is Lance coached other programs. Turner Gill was just a Heisman candidate in college at quarterback, so
Good
I
guy.
think he was a good player, but
All right, guys, that's today's episode. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Let's see if we can beat Baylor.
all right?
knock on wood.
Let's beat Baylor.
All right, boys. Peace.
See ya.